Welcome back to Going Collecting. I'm Brandon Knight. This is the show where usually I take you with me as I go to a Comic-Con or some big adventure and show you what's going on and what I pick up during the trip. Today, though, doing more of a roundup episode where I've gotten, over the past few months, some really cool nerdy books. I have them over here by me, and I'm going to show you my really cool nerdy books that I've picked up over the past few months. If you have checked out any of the other shows here on Studio 219, like my show From the Bookshelf, you know that I'm a pretty big reader. I like books. I like reading and talking about books. And these are some more of the more nerdy books that I've gotten lately, geeky content that I've picked up. I think in a future video, I'm going to showcase a different kind of collection I've been working on as well within the book world. But I'm here to show you these. I don't have any actual footage from when I went out and bought these because these were a little bit more spontaneous. Whereas with the Comic-Cons, it's a little bit more like, okay, I'm planning on going to this. Let me make sure that I have my camera ready to show you stuff. But with that in mind, before we get started, as always, please, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, like the video, comment a book that you have recently picked up, and check out all the other great content here on Studio 219, a place for faith and pop culture. So to kick things started, I want to show you all a book that I just picked up over the weekend, and it's going to be that weird reverse thing, but it is a 1970s edition of The Hobbit. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, first off. Actually, this is not the only Lord of the Rings item I have over here to show you all. But I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I really enjoy the Legendarium. And I was at there's a bookstore near my house. It's the biggest temptation for me and my wife because it's a resale bookshop and they make life really easy because for the exception of like one bookcase, everything in the store is $1. There's like one case in particular that's like a little bit higher price, and by that I mean like $5. And then if it's a new book, then it is like full price, whatever the cover price is if it's a brand new book. But since it's a resale shop, they made it easy. Everything is $1. This one is not in the best shape. The cover is a little beaten up. Whoever used to own it has their name written here on the inside. But honestly, the reason I was drawn towards it, not just because of Lord of the Rings, but because I am working on a Lord of the Rings media library, kind of picking up different covers, different copies of the movies, different editions of the books for my bookshelf. And really what caught my attention the most, though, is this great 1970s artwork for the cover. Like this just looks like one of those great like Conan the Barbarian, sword and sandal, cheap paperback book that you could have gotten in like the 70s, and I thought that was kind of fun, a little bit different for the Lord of the Rings since a lot of it is like Tolkien's artwork, especially like newer editions feature more of Tolkien's artwork. So that was the first one I wanted to show you all. Up next, speaking of getting a good deal, let me tell you about this great deal I got. I'm from the Midwest, so I have to tell you about my deals, okay? That's how it works. You watch my content, I tell you about the deals I got. I like collecting, when it comes to books, especially geeky stuff, I like collecting these guys here. These little guys here. They're called Little Big Books, or I guess at one point they were the Better Little Book. They're these chunky books. See? These chunky little books. They came out, I think it was like between the 40s through the 60s. So it's kind of the time period that these were coming out. The books are one story long, and one page has text, the other page has a picture. That's how every one of these books work. And basically, if you were a popular IP in between the 40s through the 60s, chances are there was a book made of that intellectual property. Cartoon characters, popular Western TV shows, superheroes. I have Already, I have one of Popeye, one of Space Ghost, one of Major Matt Mason. You can get all kinds of different Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters. I've seen ones for Mickey Mouse, Dick Tracy, like the Green Hornet, the Monkeys, like all of those different like shows and characters from that time period. Chances are there's at least one of these books here, one of those books made of that character. Now, I was at an antique market at the end of March. This was taking place at the end of March. Was just kind of casually walking around when I found this. When I found a whole stack of these, not just of Mandrake, but of these little books. But I wigged out because of the fact that it was Mandrake the Magician. Now, raise your hands if you know who Mandrake the Magician is. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, there's a good chance that you might not know who Mandrake is. He was created by Lee Falk, who is more so known for having created the Phantom, everybody's favorite purple-clad superhero. The Phantom is one of my top 10 favorite superheroes. I love the Phantom. And for years now, I have been trying to get stuff of Mandrake the Magician. Mandrake is hard to come by. He wasn't necessarily as popular as the Phantom, although he has been rebooted several times throughout the decades. There's even a Defenders of the Earth comic book series going on right now. I forget who's publishing it. It's not Dynamite, but that's a very likely suspect. And Defenders of the Earth is the Phantom, Mandrake, and Flash Gordon all working together. But finding original stuff of Mandrake is very difficult. Not as many things were made as the Phantom, because the Phantom is always maintained as especially a very international popularity. Mandrake's hard to come by, and anytime I've come by Mandrake the Magician stuff, books, comics, whatever, it's beat to death. And because of the scarcity aspect, even though it is beat to death, usually it's pretty expensive. These books are usually, whenever I come across them in the wild, in general, the little big books, these are about $5 to $8, I think, is what I normally pay for these. I may have paid like $3 occasionally, or I've seen some that cheap. This was $12, and given the fact that it was Mandrake, it was these books, and just look at this. Like, look at that binding. First off, look at that binding. Yeah, the pages are old and yellowed. The corners on this are really good. Like, this is not. There's not like any writing. There's a little bit of writing on the first page. It's the price. It's the price. But beyond that, like, there's no just like scribbles, color, people like kids taking crayons to it, like nothing like that. It's in very good shape. I don't think I have, of the three I already have in my collection, I don't have any that are in this good of shape. So they had this one. And this one. They had two. They had two Mandrakes. Both of them were $12 a piece. This one is arguably in even better shape. Again, look at that spine. Look at that. The corners are all really good. Yeah, the pages are old, but same kind of thing. Like, the price is written on within that first page, but then after that, it's the pages are all in really good shape. Like, it's sometimes I buy, like, I have a really early issue of the Shield Wizard that I paid a lot of money for, and like the back cover's detached. But also it was still somehow a deal. But this is like, I can actually like flip through this. I can sit and read this if I really wanted to. I picked up a third one, and it was not another Mandrake the Magician. There was only two, but I did get one of the Shadow, one of the oldest superheroes to have graced the airwaves and the pulp magazine era of nerd history. And same kind of thing, mostly. Really good shape, really good on the corners. The spine's really good. The back, not so much. The back is pretty beaten up. But then on the inside, again, everything is really good, just like the price written on that first page. The back cover is starting to separate a little bit, so gotta have to be careful with this back area. Might be popping off here eventually. But fun fact, Not a fan of the Shadow. I've always found the Shadow to be very boring. Mandrake, I'm like stoked over finally having something classic Mandrake in my collection. The Shadow, honestly, I could have passed on. This person also had, I remember there being a Flash Gordon book, and I was like, oh, I really want the Flash Gordon book. The question is then, why would I pay $12 for a character I don't even like? Well, so that antique market I went to was at the end of March. You know what happened the week before? That's right, faithful viewer. The Indiana Comic Con, which you can watch a video of me and my wife Claire walking around the Indiana Comic Con. I was at the Indiana Comic Con, and I looked at a booth. I didn't get a video of this booth at all, but I looked at this booth. They had some really cool stuff at this booth. It was also incredibly overpriced. And I know that because he had stuff that I had, and he had stuff that I've researched, and this guy was asking for like double the price on things, basically. On the stuff I knew, he was basically asking like double or triple the actual like value of this stuff. And he had this big sale going on of, if you pay cash, you get 50% off or something, which wasn't true because I tried to buy something and it wasn't 50%. That one very specific thing I was trying to buy, I guess, wasn't 50% off or something. But he had this book at the antique market. I bought it for $12. He was asking $150 for this book. I did not buy this at the antique market because I was like, oh man, I'm going to get a steal. No, this book is not worth $150. I would be shocked if it was actually worth that much. Unless the back was like pure gold and it was signed by the person who wrote it, whoever that is. I don't even know if it says who writes these. Oh yeah, it does. Well, no, it says as told by Maxwell Grant, so no. So anyway, like, I don't know if he had something extra special or what. I did not buy this because I thought I was getting a steal. I bought this out of spite. I was like, okay, I'm going to get this and pull one over on that random guy who I'm never going to see again. Last item, and like I said, it's more Lord of the Rings, bookending this and Lord of the Rings stuff. My birthday was at the end of March, like right after this market I had went to. A few days before my birthday, the package arrived at the house. It was what my wife was going to give me for my birthday. She took it into our bedroom, opened it, inspected it, and immediately walked back out and just handed it to me. That's how excited she was to give me my gift, and I'm very thankful she didn't make me wait for it. Lord of the Rings Complete Trilogy, 2nd edition. And based off of her testimony, I will not be owning a 1st edition anytime soon. So this will be the oldest copy I ever get my hands on. I do have a copy of the Lord of the Rings already, and I have a copy of The Hobbit already as well. But not only am I working on, trying to have this like fun library of all these different like editions of the Lord of the Rings, I really wanted a new edition of the trilogy because the ones I got them when I was a kid, right after the movies had come out. So the covers are the actors. One is Orlando Bloom as Legolas. One is Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn. Like, and that's fine. Like, it's a perfect like first copies of the Lord of the Rings. But I told my wife at some point, I was like, I just really want like a nice copy. I'm happy having like my childhood memory one, reading the Lord of the Rings for the first time, but I wanted a like nicer covers or something like, and she really understood the assignment, apparently. The dust jackets on these are hardback, which is also a bonus because the ones I have are paperback. The dust jackets on these are like old, crinkling, but the books themselves, I don't want to pull them out right now because again the dust jackets are a little rough, but the books themselves are in very good condition. When you take the dust jacket off, the covers are perfect, honestly. So yeah, these are my recent Geeky book pickups. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. And again, leave a comment of what books you're reading or what geeky books you have picked up recently. Thanks again for watching. And again, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. We'll see you all in the next video.